Gavin, Town are staying up, and we'll come on to the bigger picture and the bigger implications in a moment. But first of all, a home defeat, a heavy defeat. How do you reflect on the game today?
From the game point of view, I'm not a happy chappy, that's for sure. And I took some turning by my management team at the end there to see this for what it is, and I will come to that in a minute. I felt from a game perspective we were good for 44 minutes. You know, when I say we were good, we were doing exactly what was asked. They were doing exactly what was asked of them, and I didn't think they looked like really breaking us down. You know, that's the honest truth. Then they get the goal, which we can do better with, and then we come out second half and give away a really, really poor penalty when we're in control of that situation, in my opinion. And the game runs from there. So we're in a position where, you know, we have to then, like Boreham Wood, go, okay, do we need something from this game? And of course, I'm being kept abreast of the results. And as it went on, it seemed like we didn't. But, you know, there's a lot of people who've come here to support us today. And I wasn't particularly happy with just petering out to a 2-0 defeat. We opened ourselves up. And unfortunately, we're playing one of the best teams in the league. And, you know, that's what can happen. And some of their finishing was sublime. I think at this stage we need to, you know, congratulate Truro, as I understand. You know, that's a hell of a season from them, and we wish them all the best as they go forward. And you know, and also extend, you know, some warm words for Worthing and Aggie particularly, and as they go forward to the playoffs.
They were a very strong passing team, Worthing. How important was the absence today? How much was it felt, the absence of Bates and Bailey Brown today in midfield? Yeah,
look, we were quite light in respect of what we had, you know, but that's just how it works for us. You know, it's I thought Sid's come in and run his guts out in respect of playing in there, you know, so we were a bit light on what we would normally have. That's for sure. We knew Batesy wasn't going to be available from when he signed. So, but losing Bailey is obviously a big one for us. But you know, the boys, you know, tried hard today. I can't really say a lot about the game. I think it's one of our worst of recent, certainly probably this year, in the way that we performed. But you know, the bigger picture is the more important thing to focus on. I think the reason we stayed up, you know, we always knew that the final two games against, you know, a Boreham Wood side that looked a very, very good outfit and a Worthing side that looked a very good outfit, were going to be difficult, you know, begin difficult for points. So I think what we effectively did was we did our job to be able to stay up with your Cheshams, with your Hamptons, and with the run that we had, you know, February time, sort of running into March, and the win against Truro here. We done the job there really, and you know, the other teams haven't quite been good enough to catch us.
Looking back on the season as a whole, what do you think have been the key factors that have kept us up?
Well, as I say, I've been brought round a little bit. I've just gone in there and done this bit because I wasn't overly impressed at the end of the game, just me. But I've just really been brought round and understood the magnitude of what we've done, certainly from sort of New Year. You know, if you think back to when we lost to St Albans. And that can only be desire, application, hard work and belief. You know, we've beaten the sides that we knew we would have to beat to stay up. So we've gone on a run and beaten those sides. OK, you will always live in hope with a Worthing or a Boreham Wood, and that hasn't worked out for us. But I think the boys have never wavered from having a belief. They've worked their absolute socks off to do that, both here and on the training pitch. And, you know, we're little old Enfield, as I've said before. And, you know, quite understandably, everyone's tipped to go down. Certainly probably a heavy betting in January, I would imagine.
You've spoken about the players, but I've seen you put your heart and soul into this club this season. How does it feel for you personally?
It will sink in, you know. I've said, and the reason I say it will sink in, it's much easier when you've got a medal round your neck or you're lifting a trophy. But this is the biggest achievement in respect for me and my management team, you know. And it's right that I draw at this point on them. I've mentioned the players, my management team, John, Dino, Carl, you know, Ed, Connie, George. They've been immense. And the hard work that's gone in from everyone has been exhausting, if I'm honest, because the league demands so much more of you. The levels, demand so much more of you, and those boys have risen to that. And each in their little individual way, they all do things really, really well. When we bring that to the table, and we become a collective group that can achieve. So yeah, I've got no medal, I've got no trophy, but is this an achievement? It's massive. It's bigger than promotion.
And we've spoken week in and week out about the fans who stuck with us through thick and thin. How fitting a reward is it for them to stay up and fight?
Yeah, listen, I walked around and I apologised to them for today, and they didn't seem to care, to be honest. I felt that was right and proper, but they didn't seem to give a damn, to be honest. They were fixated at the fact that we'd stayed up, and I totally understand that. Me, I'm still reading a little bit from the game. They're already on to the bigger picture, and I've sort of come round to that now, sort of half an hour after we finished. So. I've said it so many times, and I'll never get tired of saying it. The support today was just phenomenal. I've said it. If there's a league table for support, we'd be top. Yeah, I'd have a trophy and a medal, right? Handing them out to the supporters. It's what Enfield's about. If I'm honest, they are the club. They are the foundation of this football club. They're what keeps this club running and ticking. Yes, there is a board. Yes, there are people to make decisions at that. But without them coming week in, week out, and travelling to what's been a few far corners this season, we'd have no club. We'd have no club. And hopefully, we bring a thought for Dave Bryant today as well. Because it is an achievement, and he has certainly played his big part in achieving where this club is today. The point now is to learn a few lessons on the pitch, off the pitch, and become stronger as a football club to be able to compete at this level in a lot more measured manner.
Congratulations, Gavin. Enjoy this.
Thank you.